It's time to start the second sample of my alphabet soup cardigan. Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor. I'm the founder and designer of NYGC by Taylor, or Not Your Grandma's Crochet, and today it's a snow day, which means today, tomorrow, and honestly Sunday here in Atlanta, because we don't have the infrastructure for snow, I will be sad. And it's the perfect opportunity to lock in and get another one of these beautiful cardigans done, because I need a second sample so that I can get everything situated for when I eventually launch them on my website. I just came in from taking a few photos in the snow. I'll insert some here, but I just want to show what we'll be making. This video is probably just going to focus on the actual squares and whatnot, and then part two will focus on putting it all together. But here is an idea of what we're going for. The squares spell out my brand, NYGC, or Not Your Grandma's Crochet. Now it's time for me to eat some lunch, get changed into something comfortable, and then we're starting crocheting. It is currently 2:19. I've eaten, I've got my coffee, I am settled and ready to reveal the colors of the alphabet soup cardigan. Okay, I'm gonna give you 3, 2, 1. I wanted to give a little primary color tease, something that felt still along with the retro vibes that I feel like the alphabet soup cardigan shape-wise gives, but incorporating more basic colors and nothing too feminine, although I'm sure that you know I wanted to do a pastel version. I just figured that something a little bit more gender neutral like this was good. Also, the real inspiration is this beautiful needlepoint piece I made probably in November of 2023. I do have plans to make purses with this, but that's all that I'm gonna say for now. You'll have to stay tuned for a future video. I have my design already, it's all written out, and I have the cardigan next to me just so that I can make sure that my initial letter squares are all perfect and squared away, because the idea is that this first cardigan will be available on my website as more of like a scrap version where you can choose multiple, like 6+ different colors to have, versus in the new version that I'll be making, it'll have 4 square colors with a color that lines it, and then you can choose like those 5 colors. You'll kind of see what I mean as I'm putting this together. The only difference is the amount of colors that I'm using and the way that the colors are being organized. I already have everything sketched out and written out, like I said. We'll see how good my sketching out of this went. It was a little bit of a challenge, that's for sure. Let's get into it. I am also timing this project. If you didn't know, the app that I use to time all my projects is called, right here, well, Toggle Track. It's really cool. It allows you to like color coordinate your projects. Basically, it acts as a timer within itself, so you don't have to use like the timer that's in your phone. I like it because especially on your phone, it shows on your notification screen, so when I do accidentally leave the timer running, it's very easy for me to like remember, because if I'm on my lock screen, it'll show. It's also easy to edit the time, so whether you did leave it running for too long and you want to like take away some time, or you were working on a project but you forgot to start the timer, you can add in time manually. They also have something called the Pomodoro method, which allows you to set an amount of time that you want to work for and then an amount of time that you want to give yourself as a break. Usually I do 2 hours on, 5 minutes worth of a break. And last thing that I really love is the fact that they have this cool chart that shows you how long you work. So last year I worked 464 hours. That's only the hours that I tracked. Definitely had some projects that I did not even track, and then it'll show you the breakdown time-wise for how long each project took. You can even set a dollar amount for how much you would want to pay yourself per hour to get a rough idea of how much you would want to charge for such a piece, this is a way that I use to calculate my pricing. I feel like talking about my pricing is a whole video within itself, but starting to time my projects was the biggest kicker. That was like, I want to sell this, but I have to sell this for what it's worth. Let's get crocheting, and I'll see you when all 4 of the initial squares are done.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca, otherwise known as Hypnot Hooray Online, and today I wanted to share with you everything I made in 2024. I wasn't too sure why. That's never really happened to me before. I usually have the opposite thing happen when I'm blocking, where the stitches expand and relax a little bit more, but in this case everything tightened a little bit.
So it's been about 55 minutes. I just finished my first square. She's super cute. Very clearly can tell it's an N. However, she's a wee bit big. She is a tad large and in charge. And one of the reasons why it took me 55 minutes is because I kept looking at this one and being like, because the letters were lined in the black versus for this one, I'm lining all the letters in their same color. I just kept being like, maybe it'll get better. So let me measure it. This one measures at, the other one is 8.5 inches long and 7 inches wide. Then on my existing cardigan, it is a little bit hard to get the measurements just because of how I sewed this together. So I am kind of low-key, kind of a little bit guesstimating. On the big side, these are 8 inches long and 7 inches wide. So these are only about ½ an inch longer. I don't know why they feel so much bigger. I mean, ½ an inch in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's definitely longer, but it's not the biggest. This just feels like a monster. While I was crocheting this, like when I first started, I was like, oh, like this video is gonna be boring. Like I'm just making these squares. I'm gonna have nothing to talk about. Famous last words. This is how they look next to each other. So, and mind you, the black that is bordering the pink end is similar here. The letter itself is definitely slightly bigger. It is in the yellow. It does look only about ½ an inch in the grand scheme of things bigger. Here's why I'm kind of like unsure. The yarn that I'm using right now is my scrap yarn. It's my bad yarn. This yarn is my pink box yarn. It's the yarn that I sell on my website, like that I make items on my website. This yarn is an arrangement of like Red Heart and like Big Twist that I would not necessarily sell to a customer, not at least for a garment. However, I want to use it, one, because it matches this perfectly, like literally perfectly, and 2, it is in my stash, and so I do want to use it up. So I could still finish this, like keep going as I've been going, and just when I like take the photos and do the measurements, when I list these on NYGC, use the measurements for the one that's this one, because I think that paint box, like this yarn, is just a better yarn in general, and I know how it lasts over time, so I just feel better about it. Plus they sell it in much smaller quantities, so I can buy like 2 skeins per color when someone's buying this. Plus it just comes in a lot of color varieties, and I could keep going on and on. But I think that continuing to make this version and maybe a second version using this like scrap yarn just to show other color ideas / variations, even if the sizing ends up being a little bit bigger, I think it's worth going through with this yarn, just because I am pretty confident that should someone want a cardigan in these exact colors, I can make it in the other yarn, and I'll just be extremely clear measurement wise that, because I'm thinking I'm gonna sell these cardigans as one size fits most, just because of how clearly they're made. But that does mean if I do have a customer who is worried about the cardigan and they need the cardigan to be slightly bigger, I can say, hey, that is possible. We will just have to switch up the yarn. I'm going to calm down, keep going. I still think it's gonna be cute, but it might mean that like I might have to shorten my ribbing by 1/2 inch, just so that the cardigan doesn't end up like a super duper. I mean, I think it looks fine. I mean, it looks fabulous. It looks fabulous, but yeah, a little worried, partially worried. There's really nothing that can be done. I do wish I had measured these. I think I did in a video. Should I go back and watch? Fine. I went back to the video. It was in my I Hate Granny Squares video. I definitely think that the ideal length is 8 inches long and 7 inches wide. This is 7 inches wide. It just is 0.5 inches tall. So I have 2 ideas. My first idea is to try this again, but do it in a smaller hook, so go down to a 4.5 or a 4. Second idea is I went through and felt all the yarns I'm using. This yellow color is the only red heart yarn that I'm using, and it is slightly denser than these other colors, which I believe are the Big Twist. So I think it's supposed to be more similar to the paint box. I don't think that's what it was modeling after, but I just think thickness wise it is more similar. So before I like start down a whole journey with this yellow, I'm going to make another square in another color, still with a 5mm, and if that one is also too tall, then I'll size down to a 4.5 or a 4 for all the squares. If that one is fine, then I will use the 5 for red, blue, and black, and a 4.5 or 4 for the yellow. Because stepping down half, like 0.5mm, especially when I really just need to fix the height of my stitches, not the width of my stitches, I think that should be good. But let's see if that's the problem to begin with and do a red.
Modifications, and I embroidered a Dora on the front, in the middle. This one is also really simple to knit, and I think it looks really cute as a set with the toadstools. So I knit that.
It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out, so I gave up a little bit, but I kind of want to remove the hearts and try and fix the top and the bottom, because that is a really quick way to make really cute shaped balaclavas. So this might get a little second chance and will not be frogged.
Plush polyester yarn bulky. I'm like, it's really pissing me. Oh, Michaels, please save me. Chunky Chanel yarn, is that what this is called? Oof.
It's an hour later. I finished the red one, a nice little Y, and this felt while I was crocheting it and looks more correct size wise. Let's measure her. She is 8 inches long, 7 inches wide, period. So what are we gonna do with this baddie? I think, what are we gonna do in the sense of, should I do a 4.5 or 4mm? The brown is a 4.5. I think I'm gonna go 4 just to be safe. Let's do 4, see how it goes. It's so much later. It's 6:20. I kid you not, this probably took me an hour and a half because I kept, okay, so I ended up starting with the 4.5, but then I was comparing it to the red and I just was like not quite sure, so then I went down to the 4, but then the 4 was not wide enough. So I was like, okay, that's definitely not it. So I went back to the 4.5 and then I kept like testing it every few rows. And then I messed up the pattern, so I had to go back and redo some stuff and blah, blah, blah. We have her in the end though, her beautiful N. I still have it attached though, just in case. Just in case. This is the old N. This is the new N. The new N is a little bit smaller compared to the red. They're about the same size. The N might be ever so slightly smaller. Ever so slightly. But it's the same amount of stitches, so when I put it all together, it'll be fun. And if you're thinking to yourself, you could just block it. You could just block it. I'm not blocking it. But you could. I'm not. I've never blocked a piece in my life. Never. Everything you see on this rack, it's turned out fine every time. That is one of my, it's such a thing that I literally don't think about it. Like never in history of life have I been like, oh, let me just block that. There have been times, like I'm talking about mid-piece or like during the process. There have been times where I've thought at the end, I'll be like, steaming this maybe could do something. But that's as far as the thought goes. I've never actually attempted it. Also, it's giving Kansas. It's giving Chiefs. It's giving in my Chiefs era. I feel like a lot of the knitting girlies, at least on YouTube, are Taylor Swift fans. You will be shocked to know, not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but it's because of the trauma. Imagine me, 8 years old, in 3rd grade, named Taylor. Twilight comes out. Taylor Swift comes out. It was a rough time. It was a rough time for the Taylors in the universe. I'm going to go eat some dinner and I will be back. It is currently 7:34. To be honest, I'm quite tired, but I want to at least get the black and the blue / the G and the C squares done today. I literally thought I was going to just be like making squares. Like I thought I could at least do 8 squares and I'm barely getting 4 done potentially. I don't know. Let's see how long it takes me to make these next 2 squares and hope that I don't fall asleep before then. I am happy about these. While they are giving like the Chiefs, they're also giving Winnie the Pooh. It's an hour and 57 minutes later, which means these squares do in fact, even in my best attempt, take anywhere between no, we've pretty consistently been around 57 minutes. Such is life. Anyways, I finished the black and the blue. Continuing with the pattern, the black is slightly thicker than the blue, like slightly more dense, not as dense as the yellow, so I didn't have any sizing issues, but found that kind of interesting. Anywho, I'm going to start winding down, read a book or something, and I will see you in the morning. Good night. Good morning. It is 10:20. I woke up very early, but I like lounged in bed, then I like slowly got ready. It is Saturday. The snow is beginning to melt, but I fear I will be in the house probably until Sunday, if not Monday, because I just can't be bothered. I wanted to show all of my squares in the light. We have the N, the Y looks so crispy, like love. The G, obviously because it's black yarn, it's not the most seeable thing, but you can kind of see and kind of see. Anyways, So essentially the cardigan is made out of 24 different squares. We have four colors, so I'm going to have to make 6 squares of each color. I'm going to do the first 4 sets of 4 to like 1 color of each letter of the 4 letters, you know. And then for my last 2 sets, I'll decide what my favorite color schemes are and use that as my front ones because they have the like slightly brought in neckline sort of situation. Let's get going. I want to crochet maybe 2 squares and then eat lunch and then just whip some out. Let's see how long it takes. It's currently 10:22. I also don't know what color I want to start off with this morning. Not that it super matters. I think I want to start off with black because the black is, for obvious reasons, not as fun to work with. But if I just knock out now, then I won't have to see it for another 3 to 5 hours. Love.
But like, how would someone take your phone? Like, I can see this like Instagram, but like, no, this is your number on your phone. Like, did someone have your phone? So I was like, is this you? I just was like, because originally I was like, that's doing a lot. Like, people overhyping this shit, but no, it's North Face at the end of the day. It just has a cool color. Literally, that's literally it. Do you guys know that I bought this laptop in 2022? I think my parents bought it because I would have never bought a $1,000 something laptop.
Trials and tribulations. It's 11:39. This took me an hour and 14 minutes because I was working on it, and then essentially in order to get this diagonal right, I need my numbers, like my stitches in between, to be odd numbers, and they weren't odd. So I was like, what's going on? And in the second row I had put 2 stitches in the same place, so everything was off, so I had to redo it, and here's where we're at. Anyways, I'm starving now. I'm going to eat my soup and I will be back. I just completed this Y using the yarn from the bigger N. There's so much yarn I had left, so whatever that means. I specifically used the Y just because the Y has less of the mesh and I figured it would use up most of the yarn. I am now going to attempt to grind out on some of these squares. I'm feeling a little bit tired, if I'm being honest, and so I was watching YouTube videos, but they just weren't quite engaging me. So I switched over to starting Severance, which is like an Apple TV show. I watched a little bit when I was at the beach with my friends a very long time ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but I can't stop thinking about it, so I'm watching it now. It's keeping my brain pretty engaged. We'll see how long that lasts, and we will see how many squares I can get done. It's 1:15. I'm probably gonna stop at some point to make myself a coffee, but we'll see how long I last.
At this time, I confer upon you the freedom to serve here in the advanced role of Macrodata Refinement Department Chief. Congratulations.
We'll get you prepped in here. Good morning, Lawrence.
Is the Sienna file. Now, all the data you see falls into one of 4 essential categories. We group each line of code and then sort it.
It is currently 12:04 a.m. I have been watching Severance all day. If I can encourage you to do one thing, please watch Severance. God, it's on Apple TV. I love it. Oh my god, it's so good. Maybe I'll talk about it tomorrow. I finished season 1. Season 2 is out now, but so I'll probably be watching season 2 when I'm actually putting this together. Today I managed to get done 8 squares, which was my goal. I was working on the 9th and then the show ended. I'm going to go to bed or get ready for bed though, because it is in fact midnight. But oh my god. Oh, actually no, I got 9 done. Slay. I was working on my 10th. So tomorrow I just need to finish the last initial set of 4, and then we'll decide what I want my 2 front panels to be, and then we will get those finished. But oh my gosh, what a day today was. In total, I worked on this for 8 hours, or it was like a little bit more than 8, so honestly, not bad time-wise. It takes me approximately 8 hours to do 9 squares. This is also like the bulk of the cardigan. I mean, putting it together realistically is probably another like, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours. I mean, we'll find out in the next video, but I just find that interesting. Gosh, Severance, like literally so good. Literally so, like I had so many questions. I was like, why are they doing this? Why aren't they showing that? Blah blah blah. And they just looped it all together, put it in a tight bow, and still left you with questions, but like reasonable questions towards the end. Great show. Oh, I'm almost out of my initial red skein. I do have another one, so that's fine. My blue, it's doing well, should get me through at least the 6/ whatever amount of squares I need. I'm still doing okay on black. This is probably enough for one more, but I do have a little bit more black, and I finished up that 1 square of yellow, the too big end, and I'll be picking up with this. If you're curious what this yellow is, it's called saffron. Me and my squares will see you in the morning. Good morning, girlies, and welcome to day 3 of my alphabet soup square cardigan making. As we left off yesterday, I was in fact working on my 4th set. I have the Y, the G, and the C to make, and then we will get into kind of figuring out what I want the front colors to be. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that full 2nd set today. I would love to, but being realistic, I don't quite know. Today I am starting to run low on some of my yarn, so yesterday I balled up my remaining black yarn. This is definitely enough for 1 more square, if not like 1.5. This is my red yarn, definitely probably not enough for 1 whole one, but I have a whole another skein, so that's fine. I do also have another skein of black. This is very much so a scrap project, so I'm not using all the same yarn brand or anything like that. If you're thinking to yourself, does that stress you out? Yeah. In the sense that now that I'm pretty certain that I do want to like have this available as an option on my website, I don't know if I want to do it scrappy. I think I said at the beginning of this video that I wasn't planning to do it scrappy, and I'm not necessarily, but this is a great way for me to personally use up my yarn. So then it's like, do I want to start making a few ready to ship? You know? Do I want to pre-select the yarn combinations and just list them as an option? I don't know. Very uncertain about how I will go about listing this as an option on my website, but for now, let's just get her done. It's currently 11:02. Let's see how long it takes me to finish up this 4th set. 2.5 hours later, it's 1:33, and I have just finished my last of the 4 sets. So let's get these all spread out so we can decide how we want to do our last 2 sets that go in the front. Brain fog. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to get everything in this short. So first off, we have an N, a Y, a G, and a C. Put it over here. And mind you, these are all the same colors. It's just really like how they're organized. A blue N, Y, NYGC. Then we have a black NYGC, yellow NYGC. So a few of my overarching goals is that going both across 4 and down 4, so like the cardigan is just NYGC. I want it to all be like represent the 4 different colors. If it looked like this, it would mean that like switching out this, switching out, oh I can't touch that, switching out this, and now this is perfect. So now every selection going down is one color and going across is one color. You get to once again see my pretty face. Thoughts and reflections. Currently, the way that this cardigan is working out is that while for that one that you see, I had the initial colorful letter, but then I lined everything in black, and so it's really easy to just stitch it all together with black and then crochet all my finishings in black. For this variation of the cardigan, I really want it to like pop with the color, so I intentionally decided to line them all with their same color just so that you get more color. But that means that as I'm figuring out the color of yarn that I want to stitch it together with, as well as add my crochet finishings, I'm having to be mindful of like how that's going to look. And I've really been using my needle point to help me sort of like think about what that'll look like. I know for a fact I don't want to line it in black just because the other one is already in black, and 1, to have some variety on the website, and 2, in my own wardrobe I don't need another black centric colorful cardigan. I mean I do, but for the website I don't. Initially I was going to do a fun green color to bring in, I feel like green is like a honorary primary color. It is like the #1 secondary color, but it's like an honorary primary color. However, I don't have enough of the green yarn I would want to use for the cardigan. I don't think I have enough to comfortably do all my finishings, and I don't want to put myself through that stress. So then my next idea was to do white. However, I feel like I've already introduced black here, and I don't necessarily want to introduce 2 neutral colors, 2 like base colors. Like I feel like a good plan for these is to plan to either do like black, white, silver elements in these to help it break up some of the color, but not to do the finishing bits in that neutral color. I mean, maybe some of them I will decide to, I don't know, but I feel like it gets me out of my comfort zone while still giving me something, or said or customer something more palatable, you know, that's not just like imagine if this black was green. It would be beautiful, but it would be slightly harder to style versus having this black here, easy peasy, you know what you can wear with it. That left me with my final thought, and that is that I think I want to do red as my main color, just because I feel like I really like the way this red pops. I think I have enough red yarn because I both have this, I have a slightly smaller skein, and if I really need more, I have a whole Karen 1 pound, slightly different yarn weight, but girl, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think it'll be a fun pop of color. I just need to check 2 things. All right, success. I need to double check that I had red ribbon that will be used for the secret project. And 2, that I had red buttons. Probably most important that I have red buttons, because I do love an accent button for sure. However, on something that's already as busy as this, having a button that's the same color as the lining just cleans it up a bit. That is something that I'm going to have to take note of when I figure out how I want to do this custom wise, just because I do want to make sure that whatever colors I'm offering are colors that I have coordinating buttons for, which is actually something very important for me to remember because I had plans for one second sample of this that I don't know if I'll be able to do. Very important conversations. Looking at this and knowing that I'm going to want to align everything with the red, that helps me pretty much decide which variations of these I want to use as the front piece. I think that helps. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for this color scheme, these four as the front, so these are gonna turn into my sleeves, just because. Let me put some of these away so it looks slightly less chaotic. Imagine this is the front right side, and imagine this Y has some like shaping to it as it will. Then if I have this, I thought this was going to be easier to demonstrate. Okay, so that's one part, and then the coordinating side would probably be, yeah, that just kind of gives you an idea of what's going through. Oh yeah, love that. Beautiful, perfect. Screenshot this in the brain. I'm going to, is that how I would spell? Wait, no, this is not actually perfect. No, that's not perfect. I would have to do this one. But that's not perfect either. Would that bother me if the shoulders are the same color? I don't think so. I don't think it would bother me because it actually kind of has to be the case, right? Low key. Me trying to talk myself into it. Is this right? No, this isn't right. No, wait. This is not the actual front. This would be the back. This is the actual front. And this is swivel swabble, which I do actually quite like. I do actually like the switcheroo ring. The switcherooing of it all. That doesn't change anything. Suddenly this isn't perfect. If you can see my conundrum is that only in this area. Oh no, that's an easy fix. Right? If I just switch these over. Yes. Boom. Perfect. Yes. And then still, well, it might still teeter black and red on the sleeve. Will it? Let me use these to organize. If I had a brain, my brain is like starting to lag. And that's what I would need for a sleeve on that side. My brain is starting to fry. Okay, I really like how this back part's looking. The back is perfect. And the front is perfect. It's just the sleeves. But technically these front pieces are the sleeves, which makes this no longer perfect. Oh. I'm seeing a little stripe motif going on. Okay, I think it's not going to really change much at the end of the day. Now that I'm seeing what's going on. Can you guys see what's going on? I don't hate it. I mean, it's gonna be like the backward sides. So then on this side, it would just look like this. Do I hate that? I don't think I hate it. Let me see what it would look like on the other side. My brain is like really in overtime right now. On the, oh, wait. Oh, wait. No, my brain is literally working 1,000 miles a minute a second. No, okay, that works. So anyhow, it's just my brain doing brain things. I'm going to take a picture of this so that I remember what it is that I am doing, because I am bound to forget, and then I will get chucking along. I'm going to want coffee very soon, but I was going to make my coffee break also the time when I went to go get the snow off my car. So maybe I'll try to push coffee to like we can get 1 or 2 squares done. Take a photo of this, get it sorted out. The fact that it ended up being black, blue, yellow, red. My brain is just on one. Decisions were made. It's currently 3:05 and I just made this square, which happens, okay, sorry, my brain. I was using the new yarn, the new black yarn. It's very soft, but it's so soft and plush that I was worried that it was more dense, more similar to the yellow yarn. So I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll just size my hook down. But I fear I sized my hook down too much. I am actually going to take a nap, wake up, and try again. Sometimes that's just the best course of action.
Up and didn't immediately start working, and going to sleep, like the last thing I do is work, and that's okay. I think that's fully okay to grind. I think like if my work weren't happening, I would be able to go out and like just like go for a random walk, which I was kind of able to do with my corporate job, but not in a way where I could go for a walk and feel stress-free. I always felt like I needed to get back to my email.
Decrease or increase sections because I didn't read the instructions properly. But because all of the project was so enjoyable, like I wasn't even really mad about having to rip back. So I'm like, okay, I enjoyed doing it, I can do it again. Here's a little bit of a close-up of the colors. While I was knitting the sleeve, I didn't realize how off my row gauge was. So the sleeve turned out huge. Basically, it is so much longer than what the pattern describes. Like, I'm fairly certain I measured it. It's like 48 centimeters, which is longer than the sleeves on the largest size.
I woke up from my nap feeling re-inspired, went ahead and redid my end. I'd already timed it, so I didn't start my timer technically. And funny enough, this black is still a little small, not like super small, but compared to the OG black, which I thought was a slightly thicker yarn, it's definitely smaller. So it's honestly smaller by like a lot. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I've decided that it's none of my business though, in the sense that like it's even kind of smaller than this. Yeah, I don't know. Is that gonna bother me? I'm not going to allow it to bother me. I might switch these out to put them on the back because none of the neck shaping is using these, or put this on the arm just because I don't want to mess up the shaping of the front. So actually I'm going to do that right now. I am going to crank through hopefully 2, probably honestly like 1 more, eat dinner, crank out 2 more. I think I can finish 1 of the 2 sets tonight. I think saying that I will finish both sets tonight is a bit ambitious, which we know I am ambitious, but that might be too ambitious. Did I explain? I ended up going back up to the 5mm. But yeah, this yarn is really interesting. It kind of has a bit of like, I wouldn't call it elasticity to it, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Anyways, I have to be honest and say I am on the mental health struggle bus at the moment. It's currently 9:52. I did finish one. I have 2 more left in this set, but I don't really want to talk about that right now. By the time this video goes up, TikTok will probably be gone. And the interesting thing is that Sour Patches are my comfort candy of choice at the moment. The interesting thing is that my business did grow a lot from TikTok, an insane amount from TikTok. TikTok is where I've had my first viral videos, and I've managed to grow a semi-regular community on TikTok. I was doing live quite a bit this time last year, and I was able to grow TikTok from there. I did have to go ghost during my 2024 crash out, but it was nice to have. This yarn is quite messed up. I need to cut it. But if I'm being honest, that's not even necessarily the source of my mental struggles currently. I do think that in this period where I'm really focused on growing my business, it does feel a bit disheartening to know I'm not going to have probably TikTok, because in the past it was something that I knew at bare minimum at least some people will see my post. The interesting thing is that typically the way the conversion was working was that a lot of people would see me on TikTok. Some of those people would go to my website. A lot of those people would go to my Instagram, and from my Instagram they would go to my website. I think Instagram is a very legitimizing platform, at least as a small business, because people know that it is easier to go viral on TikTok. So having an Instagram presence, and an Instagram presence that looks like something, is definitely helpful. I don't have a bad Instagram presence by any means, but I wouldn't say I'm the most aesthetic girly. It's just not necessarily where my creativity shines, and I get nervous in public, so I don't often like being photographed. Well, I like being photographed, but I don't like that public, hence why these videos take place in my bed, like, you know what I mean? I do feel this kind of, I think it comes from a few things. One, I am coming off of a year where business-wise 2024 was not my year business-wise. I did make some sales, not much. I think that had to do with a number of reasons. High price point, low focus on marketing, not the best consistent quality of marketing that was being put out, and general mental crash outness because of life. I don't fault myself for 2024, but I do know that I don't want 2024 to be the story of 2025 for my business. So I feel a lot of pressure to feel like I'm seeing consistent improvements on the day-to-day, and I am, but I also feel pressure to see those improvements also turn into or convert into sales, which I'm hoping things I'm currently doing are laying a path for that. But because of the things I'm currently doing, there's also a bit of like I don't know how this cardigan's gonna look when I put it all together. I have an idea in my head based on how my other one looks, but like, I don't know. Am I gonna like it? Probably. I usually do, but I don't know. Even with this project, I literally have been looking at this I've been working on this for 3 days. Yeah, for the past 3 days. I look at this and I'm like, I think this is a great idea, but I don't know what it's gonna look like. I very much so feel in the dark right now. And I feel like that's life. That has been life recently. But in a time where it feels like a lot in the world is in the dark, to also feel like this in my personal, professional life, it's kind of scary. It's your 20s, but it is kind of scary. So I'm taking it one day at a time, but it is important for me to say that if I'm being honest, while I'm not concerned, I do not necessarily I think that candy's just making my anxiety worse, to be honest. While I am concerned, I know that I'm not just being concerned in letting everything just like watching everything passing by. I am actively trying to improve. And that's really all that I can do, and just hope that through luck and God things will work out in the way that I hope they will. But I would be lying if I said I was not very anxious. Now that I have that off my chest, I did just want to talk about this. No, it's actually perfect. So I did end up doing some neck shaping. This neck shaping is different than the other one just because now that I'm doing more of a drop shoulder type vibe, the heaviness of the drop shoulder means that if this doesn't have the perfect amount of shaping, and because this one doesn't have a collar, it has like a neckline, let's go with that, it meant that my other one, if I don't, I have to kind of constantly be like making sure it's like actually on my shoulders. So I'm hoping that with this beautifully shaped neckline, it'll kind of stay better because it fits the shape of the neck better. This is actually really good. me when I see something that I did, this is actually really good. It is though. Like, I'm actually quite impressed with myself. This is a neckline that I do for my NYGC cardigans, and I have been thinking maybe I should do it for the tied up. I still don't know if I would do it for the ones with the collar, but at least for these it works perfectly. I'm gonna do these last 2 squares. I'll show you when I'm done. I would be lying if I said that I felt just splendid. I also was doing a lot of doom scrolling and stuff like that, so I did it to myself. Also, I haven't brought it up too much, but everything with the fires that happened in LA, I think that's also pretty heavy on my heart right now, just because, like, I mean, that's devastating. There's nothing more than I can say besides that's devastating. Like, to have anywhere between 2 and 20 minutes to try to collect things for what you hope is just an overnight. Make sure that you have your pets, your children all good, if you have children, and to come back to nothing. That's devastating. That is really devastating. If we're being honest, I think that's probably more on my heart than the TikTok stuff or even my business stuff. But yeah, if one of you watching experienced that, I'm very sorry. And I hope that you are able to rebuild stronger. I will say, I do love YouTube. YouTube very often, most of the time, does not add to my stress of life in the world. Even if they're talking about those sort of things, I feel like there's something a bit more comforting about it on YouTube. So that's where I will be. It's 11:54, which is an accomplishment. I have finished my 5th of 6 sets. It's late. Now I'm going to bed. I will see you in the morning when we finally wrap this up with our 6th and final set. Can you tell the candy has me delusional? Good morning. Actually, it's afternoon. It's currently 1:28. I would love to say that I didn't wake up feeling the impending doom and gloom, but unfortunately I did. However, similar to last night, I was actively doing things about it, getting things done, hence why I'm just now starting to crochet. The conclusion that I keep coming to is, at the end of the day, all I can do is what I can do. So that is what we're doing, what we can do, which is now crochet. We have 4 more squares. Let's see how long it takes me. I'm really hoping that I can be done by like 5, 6 at the latest. That feels extreme, but we're being realistic, or as realistic as we can be.
I don't care about a piece of paper, you know? I'm just excited to have literally every single person that I love together in the same place, and I want a nice pretty dress.
Now that you've finished my whole face, I don't like any of it. Take it off and redo it?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that is what she's supposed to say. Yeah, I don't like this. What can we do? Why did you hire her?
And number 2, I feel like my eyes are getting smaller. But I will just take that.
This shit happens in your street. Like, your neighbors break up and they have kids, and then they get into another relationship, and you don't care about that. Like, no one fucking cares if your neighbor next door or down the street breaks up with someone.
It is 5:51 and I just finished my 6 of 6 sets. Here are all 24 squares done. If you're curious about how long this took me, in total it took me a little bit more than 28 hours. Was I shocked by that number? Not super duper shocked, just because this is the bulk of the cardigan, just kind of like separated into square form. I'll be interested to see in the next part how long it takes me to actually put it together. My guess is probably, I don't know, 10 to 12 more hours. So yeah, I would say I'm not defending how long it takes me to crochet, because at the end of the day, this is a handmade piece of clothing, and whether it may take you 12 hours to make the same amount doesn't matter, because I'm making it with my hands. I do think it's very interesting to time things like this and see, because looking at this, would I say this took 28 hours? No, I'd probably be like, oh, that probably takes like 15 to 20 hours. Not quite. I will see you in the next part where I'm actually putting the cardigan together. If you're interested in more of me, you can follow me on Instagram and maybe TikTok. This video is coming out after the 19th, so is TikTok still around? Let me know. If you're interested in some of my made-to-order pieces, you can purchase them on NYGC by Taylor.com. And that's it for me. Bye, guys.